Let's start with a truth most people avoid. Success doesn't happen by accident. No one drifts into greatness. No fortune is built on hope alone. If you want to create anything of value, anything lasting, it must be planned, organized, thought through, adjusted, and built on purpose. That's what separates the successful from the merely busy. You see, desire is where it begins, but planning is how it comes to life. A man can want riches. He can want freedom, impact, change, but unless he sits down and constructs a clear, practical, working plan, his desire will stay a wish. This is where so many people fall short. They wait for things to work out. They think passion will carry them through. But what they miss is this. You must take your desire and give it direction. Planning is how you tell the universe, I'm serious, I'm ready, I'm in motion. Let me be even more direct. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need all the answers. But you do need a starting structure, a map to follow, even if it changes, because action without direction is just noise. Now, some people say, but Napoleon, I'm not a planner, I go with the flow. Let me tell you something. The flow doesn't care where you end up. If you want to control the outcome, you must control the input. And the input begins with a definite written plan. Think of every successful person you admire. Every one of them, whether they admit it or not, had a method, a structure, a process. They didn't get lucky, they got organized, and so must you. That's what this next phase of your journey requires. Not just dreaming, not just visualizing, but building on paper first, in action second. So I ask you right now, have you written down your plan? Not your goal, your plan. Can you describe your next 3 moves? Do you know what tools you need? What people you need? What steps must come first, second, third? If not, you're not behind, you're just unprepared. And there's a difference. You can correct that today. Start simple. Don't overthink it. Just begin with your end goal, then work backward. Ask, what would have to happen to reach this? Then break that into parts, then into weeks, then into daily steps. And now you're not just someone with a dream. You're someone with direction. Because here's what I know. People don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack a plan. Or they never follow the one they had. But you won't be that person. You're going to lead with clarity. You're going to act with purpose. You're going to plan like success depends on it because it does. And once you begin thinking this way, you step into a new kind of power. The kind that doesn't hope. The kind that builds. No plan succeeds in isolation. No matter how strong your desire, no matter how sharp your strategy, you will need people. And not just any people, the right ones. Every great achievement is built with the help of others. No empire was built alone. No business, no brand, no breakthrough ever stood on one man's effort. So as you build your plan, you must also build your team. Now, I'm not talking about hiring a crowd. I'm talking about selecting individuals who bring specific strengths, people who complement your weaknesses, people who believe in the mission as much as you do. You must be deliberate, intentional, because the wrong people, even if they mean well, will slow you down. They'll distract you, they'll inject doubt. They'll say it can't be done or not because they're right, but because they can't see what you see. And that's dangerous. So ask yourself, who do I need around me to make this plan real? Do I need someone who understands marketing, finance, technology? Do I need someone to help with execution, or strategy, or structure? List the roles, not the names. Start with the function, then look for the person. That's how you build with focus. And when you find the right people, treat them well. Share your vision. Be clear, be honest, but more than anything, be organized. People will follow clarity, they will commit to leadership, but they will walk away from chaos. So lead with a plan, not emotion. Lead with purpose, not pressure. Now here's something else you must understand. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to be the one who brings the smartest people together. The leader is not the encyclopedia. The leader is the conductor. You gather knowledge, you assign responsibility, you create the rhythm, and if someone's not a fit, if they drain energy, if they resist progress, have the courage to release them. because loyalty to the wrong person is disloyalty to your vision. As your plan grows, your team must grow with it. And as you face obstacles, it will be your team that keeps the engine moving. So build it carefully, build it early, and never forget that your plan is only as strong as the people helping you execute it. Build a plan, build a team, build momentum. That's how real progress happens. A plan without action is a fantasy. You can outline your strategy. You can sketch the steps. You can design the perfect blueprint. But until you take the first step, nothing real happens. Let me be clear, planning is critical. But it must lead to motion. And that motion must begin now, not someday. Someday is the hiding place of fear. Someday is where good ideas go to die. So once you have your plan, your next duty is to move. Even if it's not perfect, even if you're unsure, even if it scares you. Because action reveals what planning cannot. It shows you the flaws, the gaps, the strengths, the surprises. It brings feedback. It brings experience. It brings momentum. So many people delay action in search of certainty. They want the perfect map. They want guarantees. But success doesn't work that way. You don't wait for the path to be clear, you walk until it clears. The truth is, you will not have all the answers at the start. But you don't need them. You need just enough clarity to begin, and the courage to keep going. Now here's what you must understand. Your first plan is never your final plan. It will evolve, it will adapt, it will break, and you will rebuild it stronger. That's not failure. That's refinement. Planning is not a one-time event. It is a living process, a cycle of preparing, acting, learning, and adjusting. That's why I say don't fall in love with your plan. Fall in love with your goal. Your plan is a tool. Your goal is the mission. If something doesn't work, change the method, not the vision. If a step fails, ask why. Don't abandon the entire structure, adapt it. The most successful people I've studied were not the ones who got it right the first time. They were the ones who responded quickly when things went wrong. They moved fast. They stayed flexible. They learned. They adapted. They kept going. That's organized planning in its real form structure with flexibility, direction with humility, strategy with speed. Now let me address something else at timing. Too many people delay action because they say, it's not the right time. But let me ask you, when will it be? The market won't pause for you. The world won't clear a lane just for your dream. You must act in the middle of uncertainty. You must plan while the dust is still settling. You must move when others are still thinking. That's how leaders rise. They don't wait. They initiate. So once you've outlined your steps, your next move is simple. Take the first one. Make the call. Build the page. Test the product. Launch the message. Take the small risk that gets the wheels turning. Because the moment you act, everything changes. Your energy rises. Your confidence grows. Your imagination expands. And your plan begins to live. That is the difference between those who build and those who dream. So today, don't add another line to your notebook. Don't tweak your outline for the 10th time. Don't wait for the perfect signal. Act. And if you fall, you adjust. If you fail, you refine. If you doubt, you go anyway. Because once you build that habit of acting while imperfect, of executing while uncertain, you become unstoppable. And that is the heartbeat of organized planning in action. Let's talk about clarity. You cannot execute what you cannot explain. You cannot hit a target you haven't defined. And you cannot move forward on a vague idea. That's why organized planning demands one essential skill, the ability to turn dreams into details. Most people stop at the dream. They say things like, I want more money. I want to be free. I want to build something big. But what does that actually mean? How much money? By when? Through what method? What are you willing to give or learn or become to earn it? Without specific answers, the goal stays in the cloud. And cloudy goals never create clear results. You must make it measurable. You must make it visual. You must bring it down from the sky and give it structure on the ground. Let me show you how. Start with the final outcome. Describe it in writing, not in theory, but in practical terms. What does success look like for you? What does it allow you to do, to become, to create? Then work backward. Ask, What must happen just before that result becomes real? What comes before that? And before that, break it into milestones, into checkpoints, into bite-sized steps. If you say you want to earn $100,000 in the next year, then how much is that per month? Per week? What product or service will generate that? How many people must you reach? What must you sell? How will you attract attention? Build trust? Deliver value? That's how you take a dream and make it a blueprint. Now here's the trap: most people avoid this process because it forces them to be honest. It forces them to confront gaps. It requires thinking beyond the excitement of the goal. But the truth is, this level of clarity is freedom, because once you can define the step, you stop guessing and start executing. You stop reacting and start leading. You also stop depending on motivation, because now you've got a system. Motivation fades. Systems don't. So let me challenge you. Pick your goal. And right now, yes, right now, write down the next 5 actions required to move closer to it. Not dreams, not philosophies, actions. Then ask, do I know how to do each one? If not, where will I learn it? Do I have the time scheduled, the tools ready? This is planning. This is leadership. This is the difference between being interested and being committed. And one more thing. Don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're moving forward. You must check your plan regularly. Look at your results. Measure, adjust, cut what doesn't work. Double down on what does. Organized planning is not about rigidity. It's about clarity with flexibility. You are not locking yourself into a box. You are building a framework that helps you win with less waste, less confusion, and less delay. So don't fear structure. Use it. Let it give shape to your energy. Let it guide your next move. Let it remove the friction that kills momentum. Because when you can turn your vision into steps and your steps into action, you don't just think like a success. You operate like one. Let's talk about failure. Not the dramatic kind. Not the public collapse. I'm talking about the kind that shows up quiet. When your plan doesn't work the way you thought it would, you follow the steps. You tried the strategy. You executed the idea. And the result wasn't what you expected. So now what? This is the moment where most people give up. They take the failure as a sign to stop. They tell themselves, maybe this wasn't meant to be. They retreat. They go back to safety. But let me tell you something. Failure is never the end unless you decide it is. Failure is not a signal to quit. It's a signal to adjust, to revise, to rethink, to improve. Every great plan will meet resistance. Every goal worth pursuing will hit walls. That's not a reason to fold. That's your opportunity to grow. You must train yourself to expect this. Expect the plan to break. Expect the market to respond differently. Expect yourself to miss the mark on your first few attempts. That's not negative thinking. That's strategic realism. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be persistent. When something doesn't work, ask why. Don't ask, why me? Ask, what's the feedback here? What can I learn? What needs to change? Failure is feedback, nothing more, nothing less. In fact, it's the most honest feedback you'll ever get. It tells you what your audience actually wants. It tells you what systems are weak. It shows you where your thinking needs to expand. And that feedback, it's priceless if you use it. But here's the key. You must remain committed to the outcome, even if you must change the method. Your goal stays firm. Your plan can flex. There is no shame in rewriting a strategy. There is no weakness in course correction. There is only strength in the one who refuses to stop. Think of a pilot in flight. He doesn't fly in a straight line from one city to another. The plane is constantly adjusting weather, altitude, wind, but the destination never changes. You must be the same. So if you've tried something and it didn't work, good. You're in motion. You're learning. You're in the real game now. You're not on the sideline. You're not dreaming on the couch. You're out there building. That's what matters. And the more you do this, the more you train your mind to expect challenge without panic, the faster your adjustments become. You stop overthinking. You stop internalizing. You stop doubting every move. You say, this didn't work. What's next? You say, let's adapt and go again. And you will go again, and again, and again. until the plan becomes so sharp, so tested, so resilient that nothing can stop it. That's how leaders think. That's how builders operate. And that's how organized planning turns failure into fuel. Let's talk about execution. Not the moment you start, not the excitement of a new idea. I'm talking about the discipline to follow through, to show up after the excitement fades, to keep building even when no one's watching. This is where most plans die. Not because they weren't good, not because the goal wasn't worthy, but because the person behind the plan never built the habits to sustain it. So hear this clearly. A plan without consistent execution is just organized hope. What turns a plan into progress is repetition, not random bursts of effort, not waiting for inspiration. Daily, disciplined action. That's where results live. If you only move when it feels good, you'll lose momentum. If you only act when you're inspired, you will never be consistent. But if you build structure into your day, if you treat your dream like a job, you remove the guesswork and start gaining control. You need a system. That means blocking time, assigning tasks, tracking your progress, reviewing what worked, what didn't, and what's next. This isn't glamorous. This isn't exciting. But it's how goals become real, because emotion fades, enthusiasm fades. But structure gives you something solid to return to, especially when the feelings are gone. Let me give you something practical. Once you've created your plan, you must assign it to time. Not just a list of things to do, a calendar, a schedule, a rhythm. Every successful person I've studied has a rhythm. They don't wing it. They don't guess. They build routines that move their plan forward automatically. You don't rise to the level of your goal. You fall to the level of your system. And your system must be designed to do one thing, move you forward, even on hard days. Now let's be honest. Some days you won't feel like it. Some days the results will be invisible. You'll question if it's working. You'll want to change everything or stop altogether. But this is the moment that defines your future. Will you keep your word to yourself? Will you follow the plan you wrote when you were clear, even when you feel cloudy? That's discipline. And discipline is the bridge between intention and success. Most people quit when the excitement fades. But the ones who win, they move when it's boring. They act when it's hard. They work when no one's clapping. Because they're not building for applause. They're building for impact. So ask yourself, do you have a system for execution? Do you know what matters most each day? Are you protecting your time? Are you honoring your commitments? If not, your plan is just a wish. But if you're showing up, adjusting, moving forward, you're building momentum that compounds. And one day, the results will show. Not all at once, but suddenly, because you refuse to stop. That's the power of organized planning paired with disciplined execution. There's something powerful that happens when you follow a plan you've built with your own mind, your own hands, your own judgment. You begin to trust yourself, not because everything goes perfectly, but because you're no longer waiting for someone else to give you the green light. That's what real confidence is. Not arrogance, not noise, but quiet, certain yearn through clarity, decisions, and action. You see, most people walk through life reacting. They do what others expect. They follow the crowd. They wait for a sign, a mentor, a permission slip. But the person with a plan, a clear, written, structured plan, doesn't wait. They initiate. They move. They lead. And here's the truth. Confidence is not a feeling. It's a byproduct of ownership. When you take ownership of your direction, your results, your time, and your growth, confidence follows naturally. You start to believe in yourself because you have evidence. You're no longer guessing. You've done the thinking. You've done the work. You've made adjustments. You've kept going when it would have been easier to stop. And with every decision made, every challenge met, every obstacle navigated, you build something more important than money or status. You build faith in your ability to figure things out. Now let me say this. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt. It means doubt doesn't control you. It means your plan gives you a path forward when emotion gets loud. Because you've already done the thinking. You've already mapped the way. You don't have to rely on inspiration. You rely on preparation. That's power. That's stability. And that's what makes you dangerous in the best way. Because while others hesitate, you execute. While others worry, you work. While others hope, you adjust and move forward. And this brings us to another point. Organized planning doesn't just create results, it creates responsibility. When you write a plan, when you commit to it, you eliminate excuses. You can't blame the world. You can't point fingers, because now you've taken the wheel. And that scares some people. It's easier to say, well, let's see what happens. Oh, but those who wait for things to happen rarely lead anything worth following. The minute you take responsibility for the outcome, everything changes. Even if the plan needs adjusting, even if it fails at first, you're still in the seat, you're still in motion. You are still becoming the person who finishes what they start. So if you want confidence, don't wait for it. Build it. Earn it. Write your plan. Follow through. Learn from the feedback. You'll walk taller. Speak clearer. Think faster. Not because someone told you you're good, but because you proved it to yourself. And that, my friend, is the kind of belief that can't be bought. It can only be built one day, one plan, one step at a time. Let's talk about focus, because no matter how clear your plan is, no matter how motivated you are, no matter how much you want to win, you'll never reach the finish line if you're constantly chasing distraction. In today's world, everything is fighting for your attention. Notifications, messages, trends, noise, and if you don't protect your focus, your plan doesn't stand a chance. That's why organized planning is more than a map. It's a filter. It helps you decide what matters, what's urgent, what's just noise, dressed as opportunity. Without a plan, everything feels important. You try to do it all. You jump from one thing to the next. You confuse motion with progress. But when you have a structure, a set of priorities, a daily system, you begin to see what really moves the needle. Let me give it to you straight. Not everything deserves your time. Not every idea is worth chasing. Not every opportunity is meant for you. The people who achieve the most are not the ones doing the most. They are the ones doing the most important things consistently. That's the gift of planning. It doesn't just tell you what to do. It helps you say no to what doesn't align. And saying no, that's how you protect the integrity of your vision. Ask yourself this. Is the way you're spending your time aligned with the plan you created? Are your actions today connected to your goals for tomorrow? Or are you reacting, drifting, defaulting to what feels urgent? The biggest threat to your long-term success isn't failure, it's distraction. Distraction makes you busy but broke. It fills your calendar but empties your result. But focus compounds. Focus builds mastery. Focus multiplies effort. Focus brings clarity in a world built to confuse you. Now here's what planning does. It gives your focus a home. It turns random effort into targeted action. It helps you protect your most valuable resource, your time. So start treating time like money. Budget it, invest it, protect it. And just like with money, if you don't have a plan for your time, someone else will spend it for you. Every morning, look at your plan. Decide the one thing that matters most. Do it first. Then move to the second. Don't let distractions decide your day. Because the person who builds something meaningful isn't the one who tries to do everything. It's the one who chooses what matters and does it well. That's how you get ahead. That's how you build faster. That's how you stay in control. And most of all, that's how you finish what you start. With your focus aligned to your plan and your plan aligned to your purpose. Let's talk about environment. Because no plan, no matter how brilliant, can survive in the wrong environment. I'm not just talking about your physical surroundings. I'm talking about the people you allow into your space. The voices you listen to, the energy you absorb, the standards you tolerate. Your plan is fragile in its early stages. It needs protection. It needs belief. It needs the right atmosphere to grow. That's why I say, choose your environment as carefully as you choose your goals. Because every person around you is either pushing your plan forward or pulling it off track. Some people drain your energy. They don't believe in vision. They can't imagine more than what they've already seen. They'll smile at you in public but whisper doubts behind your back, and they'll call it realism. But here's what you must understand. Other people's limitations don't belong in your plan. Just because they couldn't do it doesn't mean you can't. Just because they gave up doesn't mean you should. You need people around you who respect the process, people who value growth, people who don't flinch when things get hard, people who will challenge you, not coddle you, correct you, not flatter you, support you, not suffocate your momentum. That's how winning environments are built. So ask yourself, who do I talk to every day? What are they talking about? Do their words build belief or drain it? Do their actions reflect growth or stagnation? You don't need a crowd. You need a core. Just a few people who bring energy, not excuses. And while we're here, let's talk about self-environment. What are you feeding your own mind? Are you reading things that sharpen your thinking? Are you consuming content that strengthens your resolve? Or are you filling your mind with distraction, comparison, doubt? You can't build a clear plan inside a noisy head. So create space. Protect your morning. Guard your mental diet. Fill your mind with stories of resilience, strategy, and success. Let those voices shape your standard. Now, does this mean cut everyone out? No. But it does mean set boundaries. It means protecting your plan like it's a seed. And your environment is the soil. Because without the right soil, even the best seed won't grow. Your idea matters. Your mission matters. And if you're serious about seeing it through, you must be serious about the space you build around it. Remember this, the environment you tolerate will always determine the results you experience. Choose wisely. Now that we've walked through every part of organized planning, it's time to bring it all together. You've learned that desire is the starting point, but desire alone isn't enough. It must be followed by a practical, adaptable, and structured plan of action. A plan you control. A plan you refine. A plan you execute. That's how dreams become results. Let me remind you, success is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It is earned by those who take responsibility for where they are, where they want to go, and what steps must be taken to get there. And every one of those steps starts with a plan. Now, I'm not talking about a rigid script. I'm talking about a living document, a working strategy, one that breathes, grows, and evolves with you. That's the difference between wishful thinking and organized thinking. Wishful thinking waits, organized thinking acts. So let me give you a framework you can carry with you. First, define your goal with absolute clarity. Not just what you want, but when, how, and why. Then, break that goal into specific milestones. Create checkpoints that let you measure progress. Next, reverse engineer each milestone into actionable steps. What must happen first? What resources are required? What skills must be developed? Assign each step to a timeline. Put it on paper. Make it visible. Make it real. Then, create a schedule. Commit to time. Because if it's not scheduled, it's optional. And optional tasks don't build consistent results. Next, build your support system. Choose people who elevate your thinking. Collaborate with those who can execute what you can. Protect your environment. Guard your focus. And when things break, and they will, don't panic. Revise. Refine. Reset the plan, not the goal. Review weekly. Adjust monthly. Measure results, not effort. Track what's moving the needle and do more of that. That's how you stay sharp. That's how you stay on it. That's how you stay in motion. Because success is not something you chase once. It's something you build through systems, routines, and habits. It's not about speed. It's about direction. And your plan gives you that direction every day. Now let's address the most common lie people believe. They say, I'm not ready. But readiness is a myth. No one ever feels ready to begin. You become ready by starting, by taking action, by moving forward before you're fully confident. Confidence comes after commitment, never before. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't keep rewriting the same plan hoping for perfect. You're not after perfect. You're after progress. And progress comes from action, not theory. If the first version of your plan fails, make version 2. If version 2 needs work, create version 3. Keep going. Keep refining. Keep learning. Because organized planning is not a one-time strategy, it's a lifetime discipline. The world doesn't reward vague intention. It rewards intelligent execution, and execution begins with planning. So here's your challenge. Write the plan. Follow the plan. Adjust the plan. Finish the plan. Because once you learn to master that process, there's no limit to what you can build, what you can lead, what you can become. You don't need permission. You don't need guarantees. You need structure. You need movement. And you need belief in your own ability to figure it out. And when that belief is matched with a solid plan, you become unstoppable. Now go build it.